Margot makes... I'm sorry, somebody is mowing their lawn at midnight. If y'all have been following me for the last 2 days, you know that I saw Birds of Prey. I think it's pretty clear by the thing that I drew on my face, not very well, mind you, that I liked this movie a lot. That's the short version of it. The long version is that for an hour and 49 minutes, I sat in complete awe of the artistry. That's the only word that I have for it. And then I left the theater walking taller, almost crying because I was just that emotional about it. This movie was made for and by women, and I suspect at least one queer woman was in the crew somewhere. As per usual with our movie reviews, I'm going to do a non-spoiler half of the video and a spoiler half of the video. I'll make the disclaimer right now that my non-spoiler half of the video is going to bring up some themes from the movie, but not how those themes play out in the movie. So they're things that I think can enrich a first viewing of Birds of Prey without spoiling it entirely. And then I will dive deeper into those things in the spoiler part of the video. Does that sound fair? I think it sounds pretty fair as somebody that genuinely doesn't care about spoilers. I'm trying to be thoughtful and sensitive to the people that do care about spoilers, while also enhancing an experience of a film that I genuinely love. I do not use that word when it comes to movies lightly, but I love Birds of Prey. So if you're not aware of what Birds of Prey is, what is the full title? The new title that was given to the movie after its release is Harley Quinn Birds of Prey, but that's not what's on the title card in the movie. The original title of the movie is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, and I think that is way more apt than Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. A short and spoiler-free synopsis of this movie is that it is kind of a follow-up to Suicide Squad from 2016, but also very much not a follow-up to Suicide Squad, and it involves Harley Quinn breaking up with the Joker. I don't think that's a spoiler. It's pretty much straight up in the title and in the trailers, so you know that going into the movie already. And something big happens, there's a big crime thing happening, and she has to team up with some other DC characters that I do not know pretty much anything about. My knowledge extends through this movie, and that's kind of it. I'm a Marvel girl. Leave me alone. And now that you know what it's about, let's move into my non-spoiler part of the video. To get real for just a second, there should be a trigger warning, and is in this video, for sexual assault. It is a thing that is in the movie. I wouldn't say that it happens often in the movie, but it does happen, both verbally and physically. However, I think the movie has something to say about it rather than just having it there for like grimdark stuff, you know, like some other action movies have done. There's a contextual reason for it, and it isn't just to show that it's happening in the real world or whatever, it's there to say something. There are so many women of color in the cast, and as far as I know in the crew. I mean, Kathy Yan is the one that directed this movie, and I don't actually know if Christina Hodson, the writer, is a woman of color, but she mentioned in an interview that her nieces and nephews are all mixed race, and that's a direct quote. I couldn't find anything where she talks about it specifically, but she is the sole credited writer on this movie, and I just get the feeling that, like, it's possible, okay? And then, of course, in the cast you have Rosie Perez, Journey Smollett-Bell, Ella J. Bosco, and those are just the women of color in the main cast, like characters with names. They're also 3 of the 5 main characters of the movie, which I think is really important. And yes, I am aware that those characters are not all women of color in the comics, and guess how much I care about that. I mentioned Christina Hodson already. She also wrote the screenplay for Bumblebee, which I still haven't seen even though I really should. That's not what we're here to talk about. I just all of a sudden know about Christina Hodson and have a deep respect for her after seeing this movie. Holy shit, everyone is hot. Like, there's only one person in the movie that I was surprised by his portrayal of his character, and I did not find him attractive. And of course, I thought everybody in the cast was also talented. I just happened to like their faces and their characters, and whoo boy am I gay. To be a little bit more serious, I don't think that there's a single actor in this movie that doesn't completely embody the character that they're playing. Ewan McGregor plays a character named Roman Sionis, and Roman's fashion sense is very like 80s Miami Vice. It worked for me. I don't know what it was. He had a style and he knew what it was and he went for it, and that's all the credit that I'll give Roman Sionis. I think by now we all know about Harley's sandwich. It's not really like a spoiler. It really has nothing to do with the rest of the plot of the movie. It's just a moment of joy and a moment of sadness and then another moment of joy later on. That's kind of how you know that this movie was made for and by women, is that Harley had her sandwich moment. Very small thing, I love Bruce, the hyena. And my last non-spoiler little thing might possibly count as a spoiler for some people that are exceptionally sensitive to spoilers. If you don't want to know anything else about this movie, stop watching, go see the movie, come back and watch the rest of this video later. Go do what you gotta do. But my last little non-spoiler thing is actually one of the big themes of the movie, but it's something that I have been stewing on now that I've seen it twice in 2 days. And it's that this movie is inherently about survivors. It's about people and what they're willing to do, how far they're willing to go to survive in Gotham. I think every single one of the main characters has a survival story, and I will talk more in depth about that in my spoiler section of the video. I just think it really probably might enhance a viewing for the first time of this movie, going in and knowing that all of these characters are just trying to make it one day at a time. Beware, spoilers are coming. Spoilers are ahead. If you've seen the movie, stick with me. If you haven't and want the spoilers, stick with me. If you have not seen the movie, don't want spoilers, click away right now. Come back later. So we're good, right? Everybody that's here still wants the spoilers or has seen the movie. Yeah? Okay, let's get right back into the survival story thing, because that has been fascinating me for 2 days, okay? You got Harley, who throughout the movie is trying to prove not only to herself, but everybody in Gotham, it seems, that she is more than the Joker's girlfriend. Her, like, group of friends that never show up again at the beginning of the movie say that some people just aren't meant to stand on their own. It's what she's actively working against the entire movie. It is really the driving force behind Harley's character growth. Roman even says, you know, you can't stand on your own, Quinn, you're not the type. But it's also pretty telling that he says that after she's already teamed up with the other main characters of the movie. She is looking for emancipation, but she's willing to work with a team of people that are worthy of her time. I just think that there are so many parts of the survival story that, like, globally, women can identify with. Her animation at the beginning of the movie shows her in the Jester outfit from the comics, specifically when she's saying that she lost all sense of herself as she dove headfirst into her relationship with the Joker, and then this movie does everything that it possibly can to undo that kind of mentality, that kind of devotion to another person who could not care less about you. I'm just saying, I'm real proud of Harley Quinn. This isn't really like a survival thing, but I also really liked the kind of dichotomy in her costumes, not necessarily just from Suicide Squad, but again, they show her in the Jester costume in the animated opening sequence, and then throughout the rest of the movie she wears nothing but glitter and bright neon colors and that weird fringe jacket that I absolutely adore, and those sequin pants. The star outfit from the bar. This is one of those moments where I can't tell if I want to be Harley Quinn or date Harley Quinn, which is an option because she's also canonically bisexual. It's also in the animated opening sequence. Renee Montoya is the character that Rosie Perez plays. She's a detective with the Gotham City Police Department. She's been overlooked at work for not only being a woman, but being a Latinx woman. She's constantly being belittled by the men that she works with, regardless of the fact that she has a good track record. They just wipe her under the rug because she's a Latinx woman. And then she kind of flips them off at the end of the movie, which was with Kesha's woman in the background. Dinah Lance sings at Roman Sionis' bar, and she absolutely hates Roman. It is so obvious how much she hates Roman, but she can't not do the job that she's been given because she has nothing else. She has no other way to make money. Roman is her only source of income, essentially. So as much as she hates him, she is surviving. I will also talk about Roman and his power trips, but one of the ones that makes me the most uncomfortable is it involves Dinah. It's the scene in his bar where he makes the woman Erica stand up on the table just because she was laughing, and he thinks she was laughing at him when she wasn't, and it gets very uncomfortable. And Dinah tries to leave, and he doesn't let her. And he tells her, "You soothe me, little bird," like it's supposed to be some kind of commendation from the gods. It's one of the hardest scenes in the movie to watch, I think. Cassandra Cain is between 14 and 16, I think, in this movie, and she's played by Ella J. Bosco. Her survival story involves being a pickpocket. She has no power over her foster parents or in her foster situation whatsoever. She has no power over her own life. The implication of being a foster child also to an audience that does not get to see into the family other than hearing the foster parents yell kind of reads as she has absolutely no power over her entire life. The only way that she knows how to control what is happening around her is to steal from people. It also ends up being like a monetary thing because she does live in a poor area of Gotham, but it's got that connotation of this is the only way that she has any sort of control over her own life. And Helena, aka Huntress, aka the hottest person to maybe have ever lived, thanks Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she's been surviving 15 years on nothing but revenge and a toy car, apparently. 15 years before this movie takes place, Sionis pays goons to take out Helena's entire family, and her family's super rich, and they have this diamond with all kinds of codes to their bank accounts, and they kill everybody in her family except for her. She gets taken off to another family of mercenaries and is trained for 15 years in the art of killing, and truly feels that she'll never be able to rest until her family is avenged. Harley, a psychiatrist, tells her,
"Psychologically speaking, vengeance rarely brings the catharsis we hope for."
And suddenly she's got a new team. She's not alone anymore in this world. I also think to some extent that Roman is just surviving. He's a ridiculously wealthy and powerful man, and he goes on these terrible, terrifying, rage-driven power trips. But they say at least once or twice throughout the movie that he acts the way that he does because his father was never proud of him, and he's, attempting to be better than his father, but Harley calls him out on using that as an excuse to just wanting pride out of his father that doesn't care, and that in no way excuses him for the things that he does. But I do think it's still worth mentioning and seeing how that theme plays throughout every one of these characters. So now that I've gotten through that long lecture of a discussion, this is how you retcon a character and make it mean something. Out of the few interviews that I read with Christina Hodson, she in no way makes it sound like she was trying to undo the things that were done in Suicide Squad. That doesn't mean that I don't see those things happening. I mean, the very basis of this movie is that Harley is no longer with the Joker. She is on her own. She has to protect herself. She inexplicably has to protect a 16-year-old kid now too, but she's really, Harley is still number one because of the abuse that the Joker put her through. It's not very loudly said throughout the movie, but it is pretty explicit as long as you know about the character, and I think there aren't many people, especially comic book movie fans, that don't know about Harley Quinn. The more that I talk about this movie, the more I like it. God damn it. Not only is Harley Quinn canonically queer within the universe of this movie, but so is Renee Montoya. The assistant DA of Gotham City is played by Ali Wong. Yeah, that character is Renee Montoya's ex. This is a smaller, less global thing for me, but it really struck me the second time that I watched this movie. The scene where Harley goes into Gotham PD to get Cass, she's, blowing up all kinds of canisters of colorful smoke and glitter, and she shoots off one blue and one pink smoke bomb thing, and they merge together, and then she faces off with one of the last police officers in front of a cloud that makes up the bi flag. It just made me feel seen, okay? Okay. Holy shit, everybody in this movie is hot except for Chris Messina, which is a first. Before I saw it, I kept seeing, like, you know, the pictures of him with the blonde hair, and it was really like seeing Chris Messina with the blonde hair, which like it's never happened before. That got to me, but then I saw the movie and I was like, no, he's creepy. However, Margot is Harley. Just from the things that I've seen on the internet between, you know, clips from the show and screen caps and clips from the comics and stuff, Margot makes the same facial expressions that Harley does. Margot looks like Harley Quinn. And it is almost uncanny, except that she is just so good at being this character. Who gave her the right? Also, I just have to shout out Derby Queen Harleen Quinzel. Here's another moment where I can't tell if I want to be Harley Quinn or date Harley Quinn. And I would be remiss if I let this video go without mentioning once again how hot Mary Elizabeth Winstead is. Even when she is screaming about how she uses a crossbow and not a bow and arrow because she's not 12 years old. Wow. Why did that work for me? It just did. I mentioned this earlier that the movie is kind of gritty, but in a digestible way. It's not gritty just for the sake of being R-rated, essentially. It's gritty and the characters are dirty and messy and flawed. Here's exactly what I wrote. The members of the Birds of Prey team are all likable, which makes their victory so satisfying. The violence is abundant, yeah, and it's not my favorite part of the movie, but it's not any more or less violent than any Batman movie, except for maybe Lego Batman. It's definitely easier to sit through than Suicide Squad was. I think it's safe to say I kinda like this movie a lot. I've even used the word love to describe how I feel about it, which is a big deal, okay? This is just like a random thing that I noticed, but there's a lot of hand iconography. Like, Roman wears these gloves that are really interesting and draw your eye to them. More than one character in the movie wears multiple rings and they're all shiny, so they're all drawing your attention to their hands. There's a lot of hand iconography in Roman's bar, like set decoration. At the booby trap at the end, there's the like weird bendable hands. I don't know what to make of all of this hand stuff, but there's a lot going on with hands in this movie. Take that as you will, I suppose. The last thing that I definitely liked, but really doesn't have to do with the movie, it's really about the soundtrack. The soundtrack! Oh! Recently I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks in my car because I've been working out of my car, but the last couple of days, the last 2 days, I have not been able to listen to audiobooks because I've just been replaying the soundtrack. Because it's just so good. I have two things that I guess are kind of cons. One kind of very specific thing is when Victor and the goons catch Harley, Roman and Victor are coming down into the room behind her, and you can hear Roman say, "I don't care what it takes, I want my diamond back." It just really wasn't subtle at all, and I know that it was set up so that Harley would overhear that, but they came from upstairs where they had already talked about the diamond being missing. So then coming downstairs to say it right behind Harley is Roman literally asking for Harley to get involved. I really only had the one. I really only had the one con. Honestly, if there were other flaws in this movie, I would have written them down if they were big enough, but the smaller flaws I was willing to overlook because I just loved the movie that much. This movie really, really emotionally touched me, felt me, recognized me. It was so good. It was so good that I saw it twice in 2 days. I don't know if I've ever done that for another movie ever. That is all that I have written down about Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Go see it. Go see it again if you've already seen it. Just enjoy yourself. Let yourself have this fun. If you have seen it, please let me know in the comments what your favorite part of Harley Quinn Birds of Prey was. I guess we're gonna go with the new title. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like to, please click the bell below so you don't miss any of our future videos. Also give it a thumbs up for algorithm reasons. If you're not already subscribed to The Princess and the Scrivener, please do so down below as well. We do videos on Disney, feminism, pop culture critiques, and more. This kind of falls into all of those, except for Disney. One of us will see you real soon. Oh no, what'd I just do? Nothing? Cool. Why do we have to simplify things when they're just fine being complex? My boy Thor's up there. You can see Thor and Heimdall, so like, you know where my loyalties lie. Is that grammatically correct? Who cares? I did see Suicide Squad, unfortunately, but she was not the worst part of that movie. In fact, I think Margot Robbie was the best part of that movie. I love Pride and Prejudice from 2005. I love Beauty and the Beast. And I love Birds of Prey. Is there a pattern there? I think there might be a pattern there.